time. One more time. Just like the air is plentiful, flowers that bloom in multiples, grains of sand uncountable. I am enough. Just like the clouds so beautiful, like the earth billions of people, stars in the sky innumerable. I know I am enough, and we sing I am. I am enough. Oh, I am enough. Just as I am. Just as I am. I am enough. I am enough. Raise your fist up high and say, oh, I am enough. Just as I am. Just as I am. I am enough. Oh, just like the air is plentiful, flowers that bloom in multiples, the grains of sand, I can count them all, but I know I am enough. And I look at the clouds, they're so beautiful, like the earth, billions and billions of people, stars in the sky innumerable. I know I am enough, and we sing I am. I am enough. Oh, we are enough. Just as I am. Just as I am. I am enough. I am enough. Oh, yeah. Just as I am. Just as I am. Oh, I am power. I am power. And I am peace. I am peace. I am love. I am love. Eternally. Eternally. And I am whole. I am whole. And complete. And complete. Oh, that's who I am. That's who I am. That's who I be. And we sing I am enough. I am enough. Yeah. Just as I am. Just as I am. I am enough. Just as I am. Just as I am. I am enough. Oh, we are enough. 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 We are. Yes, we are. Don't wait for anybody else to tell you. It's the truth of who you are. It's the truth of who you are. Hey, you are born good. You remain good. You are born good. You remain good. Hey, we are. Hey, hey. Yes, we are. Yes, we are. Yes, 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 yeah, we are. Everybody. I am enough. I am enough. Just as I am. Just as I am. I am enough. So it is. So it is. So it is. I'm also grateful just to be alive. I'm grateful to be breathing. I'm grateful for the clothes on my back. I'm grateful for the shoes on my feet. I'm grateful to be in this room with all of you who love real music, who love live music. Yes, yes. And so we're just going to take this time to be in a little gratitude and feel the vibration of thankfulness. It goes like this. I am grateful. I am thankful. I appreciate and I celebrate. So 21, can you sing your gratitude song?
I am grateful. I am thankful.
I appreciate. Appreciation and gratitude is the same thing. And I celebrate.
And I celebrate.
I am grateful. One more time, you can sing along.
I am grateful.
Wave your hand if you're grateful tonight.
I am thankful.
I appreciate. And I celebrate, and I celebrate.
And I celebrate.
I appreciate. Celebrate every one of you. I appreciate. So grateful for this breath I'm breathing. Yeah.
And I celebrate.
Oh,
I appreciate.
yes, yes, I appreciate that I can see.
And I celebrate.
And I appreciate that I can use this mind to think. I appreciate.
And I celebrate.
One more time, I appreciate. And I celebrate. Bring it down, bring it down. Grateful mind and a grateful heart leads to a grateful life. A grateful heart, a grateful mind leads to a grateful life. If we think thoughts of gratitude, if we hold those thoughts in our heart, then our life begins to show us magnificent miracles. Tenors, can you sing it with me? Grateful heart, grateful heart, grateful mind, yes, grateful life, grateful, grateful heart, grateful mind, it leads to a grateful life. Altos, can you join in? Can you sing? I am, I am, I am.
I am
Can we all sing this together? I am. Everybody together.
I am.
Yes.
I am
Grateful.
grateful.
Oh, can we sing I am? I am. Yes. I am. I'm so grateful. One more time, it feels so good. It feels so good to me. It feels so good to me. It feels so good to me. Yeah. Just the voices. Just the voices. One big choir, yeah. Grateful. One more time, you sound so good. So good. Grateful. Yes, yes. So grateful, so grateful, so grateful. I've got peace like a river. I've got peace like a river. I've got peace in my soul. There is love all around me, so much love all around me, so much love in my soul. I've got joy like a river. I've got joy like a river. So much joy in my soul. I've got peace like a river that passes all understanding. Peace like a river. Oh, I've got peace in my soul. And there is love. I'm surrounded by the arms of love. Hey, everybody. Happy Sunday.
Happy Sunday.
It is so good to see you. It is so good to be here with you. Let us begin, as we always do, with a word of prayer. And this morning, our prayer champion, Reverend Shauna, will lead us in prayer.
Yes, yes.
Morning, beautiful people. Happy Sunday. Close your eyes and breathe in deeply and breathe out fully. Connect to the God within. God is the beginning and the end, the creator of all time and space, visible and invisible substances. God is everywhere present. God is here now. God is in our very cells and thoughts. There is no separation between ourselves and God, between us and everything else that is. God and I are co-creating a life of abundance, harmony, compassion, joy, love, friendship, and peace. God has supported me through hard times and sad times, through challenges I thought I could not bear. And I'm still here, growing and thriving and being of service. Since you and I are one in God, everything I have felt or experienced or accomplished, so have you. We have witnessed miracles in our lives, with our families and friends, and our financial situations, through community service and action, in our government and on this planet. While our eyes may see and our ears may hear what we don't like, we know that they are only reminders of what we don't want. We affirm the good, the whole, the true. We affirm equality, justice, and mercy, and know we are the ones to bring that about through our consciousness. I am so grateful for the CSC community, for the technology that allows us to be together in spirit, for the music and meditation and message that connects us, inspires us, and fills us with spirit and conviction. We go out today and throughout the week knowing God has our backs and that each one of us is supporting and praying for each other. I release this prayer of truth knowing that it is already done. Of this I am certain. Amen, ashe, and so it is.
Amen. Ashe.
And so it is.
Yes, and we are grateful. We're grateful for the means, the technology, the ways in which that we're able to connect, that have allowed us to stay connected and stay on point,
Yes.
and stay in the vibration week in and week out. Thank you, Reverend Shauna, for that prayer. Welcome to everyone, particularly those who may be joining us for the very first time. If you are connecting with us, whether it's live right now or in some future time, if this is your first time connecting with us, we want to stay connected to you. And so you'll see a number here on your screen. You can text the word welcome to that number, 347-472-1078. Just text the word welcome. No signatures, no emojis, and you'll receive an automatic response back asking you for your information, and we'll add you to our mailing list so that you can stay abreast of all of the good things that are happening at CSC. We're going to share some of those things with you in a few minutes, and so there are different links and things you may want as you hear about what's going on. So let's get into it. Let's look at what's happening at CSC. We have a few things to remind you all about.
Wow, it's September, everybody.
Yeah, new month, September.
Yes.
So first and foremost, I just want to say thank you. Thank you to those who have already completed the survey. There's 50-something people, I think, that have completed the survey up to this point. We need this information so that we can begin to take, an accurate assessment and begin to make plans. As we've shared in the past few weeks, we are also in conversations with Restoration Plaza around when they will officially be opening. It's supposed to be in this coming week, but we haven't received that official word. And also, we have a bunch of questions because there are things that the building would need to have in place before we could ever consider moving back in and resuming in-person services. With that, we need to hear from each and every one of you. And so this survey is available. You can go to celebration.sc.org/COVID-survey. You can also just go directly to our website, and under the classes and events section, you'll see a button there to access the survey. But again, we need your information. We need your insight. And we ask that you would answer it as honestly as possible so that we can take it all into consideration.
Yes, and you know that we will make a thorough assessment and determination for the safety of everyone in our community.
Absolutely. So the other thing we've been talking about, this month is the last month to complete the census. We've shared videos. You can go through the past few weeks. But just know that the census is incredibly important. It only happens 10 times, every 10 years, 10 times a year. It only happens every 10 years.
That's not.
And this is the information that's used to assess congressional districts, federal funds that go to cities and localities. And what we've seen, particularly in the New York area, we have not met the mark here. Mayor de Blasio, as well as our borough president, Eric Adams, has shared that New York City, just over 50% have actually completed the census, and so we want to make sure that we get all that it should be coming to us, and that vital services and needs are met, and will receive that federal funding. So if you still need to complete the census, it's very easy to do. Just go to my2020census.gov. There's also a phone number here if you'd like to do it by phone. September 30th is the last day
the last
to complete
day,
the census.
Last opportunity to have your voice counted.
Yes.
Have you counted?
Yes, absolutely, absolutely. The other big thing we want to talk about, and we'll be talking about for quite some time, is we recognize that voting is coming up, and there's so much around voting that's happening right now. We know that there's so much voter suppression and so many voting deception, and so we want to encourage you, no matter what your political affiliation may be, to participate in the process and vote. So there's a couple things to really keep in mind. The first thing is that you want to plan your vote. Because there's so many different things going on. Now, thankfully, because of COVID-19, many states are offering additional ways to vote. So the first thing is, if you're not registered to vote, register.
Yes.
Right? So that you can vote. There's still time. If early voting is available in your state, it's highly encouraged that you take advantage of early voting. I believe in New York, early voting starts on October 24th. The other beautiful thing that's happening in many states and cities, the NBA has taken a very huge role in ensuring and protecting the vote. And so one of the things is that arenas that are generally used for NBA games will be open for early voting. So there'll be enough space for lots of people to go and vote early. So if that's available, take advantage of that. If you cannot vote in person, request an absentee ballot today. Do it, and when you receive that ballot, fill it out and get it right back in the mail as soon as possible. You want to give your ballot, your absentee ballot, as much time as needed to travel to get to your board of elections. Okay, and then finally, if you are going to vote in person, whether it's early voting or on election day, plan for long lines.
Yes.
Right.
Prepare yourself to be there for a while.
Exactly. So you might need to bring a snack with you. Definitely
Bring a
have
sandwich.
some water, a sandwich. I'm sure there will be many people that are, will have snacks and maybe offering things, but it's important that you to just plan, right? And so there are a bunch of online resources. If you're not sure how to register to vote, if you want to make sure you're actually registered, these sites are just some, but are very, very helpful. Vote.org, you can click the link to register to vote. It'll take you there. You can find out if you're registered to vote. I Am a Voter, which is through the NBA, also has all of those similar resources. WhenWeAllVote.org, same thing, right? Supporting us in making sure that we can confirm if we're registered, register if we need to, find out where our polling places are. BlackVotersMatterFund.org. There's a voting toolbox that you'll find on that website, which is really helpful, and also talks about and helps to advocate if you want to be involved with voter suppression and making sure that people are actually able to vote safely and securely. And finally, Fair Fight. Same thing. If you want to be involved, because there are monitors that are needed, there are lots of people that are needed to make sure that our election is actually fair. Finally, one of the things that's come up because of the coronavirus and because of COVID-19, and just the nature of the election this year, there is a huge need for poll workers, more than ever before.
Yes.
Many of you, I'm sure you're familiar. Like, generally speaking, poll workers are retired folks, right? They're older folks, and because of COVID-19, many of our sisters and brothers that puts them in the higher risk category. They really can't be out, and definitely not in crowds, and definitely not out all day. And so this past week, PY and I both, we registered, we applied, we're looking forward to taking the class, and we're looking forward to working in our local polling place. So if that's something you're interested in, go to powerthepolls.org, which will give you the information related to your particular state on what you need to do and what's required. But it's something that we highly encourage you to consider and think about. This is that piece where we talk about, as spiritual people, we treat and we move our feet.
Yes.
Right? So, we're praying and we're prayerful and we're holding consciousness and we are moving our feet. We are doing something, taking inspired action and actually being a part of the solution, rather, instead of talking about the problems.
And remember, this process of staffing the polls takes a minute. So you need to, if you're interested in that, go and fill out the application to even begin the process. It's not like I fill it out and I'm already in. It takes a minute for you to get through the process. Not just filling out the application takes a few minutes, but then there's steps involved for them to verify and all that good stuff. So it takes a minute for you to get an answer, a response.
Yeah, absolutely. So we'll be reminding you as we move throughout the weeks about the vote and making sure that you tap into the vote. So we want to make sure that anyone that has a prayer request can submit a prayer request. As we are not in person, of course, we would leave our worries at the door and write them and leave them at the altar. But you can still send an email. It will be received by our prayer champions as well as myself and PY. And we will know the truth with you and for you, or with and for your family members, or whomever it may be. Just send an email to prayerchampions@celebrationsc.org. And again, we will know that truth with you. We also encourage you to let us know that your prayer was answered. We also encourage you to send us your prosperity reports, send us your victory reports, send us your miracle reports. We are confident and we know that all is well, and it is awesome to hear that back from you. Right. We also hold prayer every Wednesday morning. We have our Momentum Prayer Call where we pray from the answer. We share that day's daily word reading, and then one of our prayer champions leads us in prayer. That's Wednesday morning, 7 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. All the information is here on your screen. There's also a playback number. We encourage you to keep and use that number because you can call in and listen to the most recent prayer at any time, 24/7. We record every prayer that happens on Wednesday morning. So please tap into that, make use of it. It is always an awesome time and a great way to just for that midweek boost that we need, that midweek check-in. It's awesome and always wonderful. So we are in our series, The Sun Does Shine. We're reading the book, The Sun Does Shine, written by Anthony Ray Hinton. And we've created a book series group. Last week we had our first Zoom gathering together.
It was awesome.
It was so much fun. It was awesome. Just great conversation and dialogue. Because there's so much that comes up and so much to talk about related to the book. And we want to create space for that. We're going to do another one at the end of the month. So if you're interested, you want to join that group. And you join that group by going to celebrationsc.churchcenter.com. When you get to that page, click the groups option. And then from there, you'll look for the Sun Does Shine book series, and then click join. Enter your information and you'll be able to join the group. You'll see the information for the next session that we do, again, at the end of the month. Also, the recording is there and is available for everyone that's in the group now. If you haven't seen it, you can go to the resources and the link to the recording to watch the discussion. And for new folks that are just joining as well, you'll be able to catch up on that and tap into that discussion and be ready for where we continue our discussion at the end of the month.
And all the information is there, all kinds of good resources, messages from TED Talks to conversations. It's a good resource to have.
Yeah, really good, really good.
And if you want to participate, that's the only way, is to join that group.
Absolutely. Finally, we want to make sure that you have the reading guide as we've been moving through each week. We started, we looked at the foreword, and PY and I sort of introduced the book and why we thought it's important and why we're doing the series. And then each week we've moved forward. And so today's message is going to be inspired by some of the reading in chapters 17 through 20. But just so you know where you are and where we are in the reading. So to prepare for next week, then you'll read those last chapters 21 through 24. Well, it is that time. It's time for the meditation experience. So let us all draw within and allow PY to lead us so wonderfully and beautifully to that space of ease and calm.
Well, I love this time that we spend every week. And as it is a new month, that means we are focused in on a new idea to guide us inward Last month we talked about the peace of God shining in us now. And that's important to realize that we take our peace with us. But there's also something else. As I often say with meditation, you can have read every sacred text, memorized them, can call them up at will. But if you're not experiencing God within you, then all you have is information, good information. But there's something to be said about feeling God. And so this month, our affirmative thought comes from A Course in Miracles. I feel the love of God within me now. I feel the love of God within me now. There's something shining within us, something that is always available, something that could not be taken from us, something that is permeating every situation that we find ourselves, and that is the love of God within us now. The world didn't give us this love, and the world can't take it away. It is the driving force behind our breath. It is the force. It is the source. It is our connection to divine. And it is alive and well within us now. We get to feel it like we feel our breath. We get to know it like we know our names. We get to walk around surrounded by it, comforted by it, and allowing it to be the thing from which we see, speak, live, and move, and have our being. So let's do that now. Let's come together to feel the love of God within us now. Feeling it viscerally, feeling it in every cell. So go ahead and find a comfortable seat wherever you are in your home, on your sofa, in a chair, reclining upright in your bed, wherever you are. Settle into that place. And now, closing our eyes. And as we close our eyes to the external, we make our way to the internal. Just like the waves of the ocean go out and come back, just like the breath is a cycle, we feel it alive right here and now. And as we notice this aliveness within us, we make no judgment or demands on it. We just allow it and feel it now. A few more rounds of just noticing the breath. And from this level of awareness, we know that we are alive in love, as love. I feel the love of God within me now. And let's come together now and take a little bit more conscious control of the breath. Bringing our minds and our focus to our low belly. Together, inhale into the low belly. Hold it there. And open the mouth and release. Inhale again into the low belly, expanding the low belly. Inhale. Hold it there. Open the mouth and let it all go. Moving that breath and that energy and that love, inhaling in and all the way up through the rib cage now. Inhale. Hold it there. Expanding the front and the sides and the back of these vessels. Open the mouth and release, making room. Again, inhale. Hold it there. Now release. Inhale in and up through the heart, making our way to the symbol of love within us. Hold it there. Open the mouth and release. Again, inhale up through the heart, holding it there, feeling the sensation of opening across the chest, across the back. And open the mouth and release. Nice, long, slow breath there. Let's practice that full breath. Inhale all the way in and up through the heart. Hold it there. And release. Beautiful. In and up. Hold it there. And this time, close the lips. Exhale through the nose. Nice and slow. This form of breath will be the way that we operate as we feel the love of God within us now. In and out through the nose. Take a few rounds here. In gratitude and in love for the breath. I feel the love of God within me now. And let's send that breath and that love into our feet. Relax the feet. Maybe spread the toes and surrender the feet. The energy that is gathered beneath the feet begins to make its way up the body. Relax the ankles. Full round of breath and energy flowing up the body across the shins and calves. Relax the shins and calves. Energy flows across the knees. Nothing to carry there. Nothing to hold on to. Relax the knees. And now energy moves across the thighs, making its way to the hips, our seat of joy. Relax the hips, the thighs, and the glutes. Hamstrings also relax. Just like waves in the ocean, we feel the waves of love moving through us now, inhaling and moving that energy up from the base of the spine, activating each chakra on the way up. This channel for energy, this loving, open vessel that we are, sending and feeling the energy traveling up the spine, up, up, and out the crown of our head, gathering above us all, connecting us all, wherever we are on the planet. And we give this energy, this love, permission to flow back down through the crown, activating, energizing our third eye, opening our throat to speak words of love, down our shoulders, down our arms, and out our fingertips, relax, surrender, and open to love now. And as we imagine and feel this open channel, if the palms are turned up, that's okay if you'd like to receive more. Or turn the palms down to ground. But bring your focus back to the heart. Imagine at the center of the chest, that chakra. Imagine a ball of white light there. And with each inhale and exhale, it grows in intensity. On the inhale, we draw more energy into the center. On the exhale, this light, this life force expands throughout our body. Light, love, light, and loved symbolized as the color green, filling our body now. Let every cell receive this awareness that it is filled with the love of God now. And as we go into our silent time, scan the body one last time. If there's anywhere that love has not reached, send it there now. Relax and open. And as we go into our silent time, I will monitor. You take the journey. And if the mind wanders, it's okay. Bring it back to this truth. I feel the love of God within me now. Feel that love now. With our eyes still closed, we enjoy the sensation of God's love within us now. With our eyes still closed, we take a mental picture of the feeling and sensation. Course in Miracles says to feel the love of God within you is to see the world anew, shining in innocence, alive with hope, blessed in perfect charity and in love. Imagine that world shining within you, that love reflecting out in the world. Slowly, with that love activated, begin to bring yourself back to the room. Eyes still closed, but maybe you rub the palms together, signaling the body that it's time to come back online in a more alive way. With the eyes still closed, maybe you just rub the palms across the knees and the thighs, signaling them that it's time to return, to be more activated. And maybe you draw the shoulders up by the ears, taking nice, deep, full breaths, and slowly releasing the shoulder blades down the back, nice and easy. Feeling this space and time, feeling this connection to each other. Now bring the palms together at heart center. Pausing to notice the beating of the heart. Now bow the chin towards the fingertips and maybe feeling a little bit of opening in the base of the neck and the spine. Now slowly flutter the eyes open, taking in a point on the floor in front of you. Nice soft gaze, nice gentle gaze. Inhale. Raise the chin, raise the gaze. Namaste.
Namaste. Beautiful, beautiful. Thank you, PY.
You're welcome.
So before we get into the message that is prepared for today, we will receive the message in song from Soul 21. So strap in and enjoy. There are so many things taking place in our world, in our nation, and I don't know about you, but I'm disturbed by many of those things. But I recognize that if I'm disturbed, there's a call within me. There's a call to be love. If I'm disturbed, there's a call within me to be the light of the world. If I'm disturbed, there's a call within me to take inspired action. And so I recognize as that is true, it is time for us to no longer talk about the spiritual teachers, to no longer talk about Jesus, Buddha, Krishna, Muhammad, whoever your preferred teacher is, but it's time for us to become them. They lived their life, they had their time, they made the changes that they made, but you may be the only Jesus that anybody will ever see. Yes. So it's time for each and every one of us to become the Christ in our lives and transform the world. Okay, put your hands together. You are the light of the world, a bright and shining star. It's time to shine your light, let the world know who you are. We've done a lot of talking, it's time to start walking. Change your words into actions, you'd be amazed at what would happen. We have signs, t-shirts, and posters asking, what would Jesus do? Well, it's more than just a slogan. Take the next step and do what he do. Hey, be Jesus to somebody. Jesus also be in us. We're going to let this love that was also in Christ Jesus be in us. We're going to let this life that was also in Christ Jesus be Jesus to someone. Be Buddha, be Krishna. Be Jesus to someone. Be the prophet. Muhammad. Be Jesus to someone. We're going to sing it again. Be Jesus to be Jesus, yeah. Be Jesus to someone. Be Buddha. Be Krishna. Hey. Be Jesus to someone.
Oh, yeah. Yes, 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 yes. Be Jesus, be Buddha, be Krishna, be the Prophet Muhammad to someone. The embodiment of that song is the underlying idea that the avatars, the great teachers, the great spiritual masters are not unique, are not special, but simply said yes, simply surrendered to the truth that is and allowed that truth to resonate and operate in, through, and as their lives. And as they are gone, as they've been gone, this world is asking for each and every one of us to answer that call for love, to be, to embody that knowingness, that consciousness, and transform and change the world. Well, it is so good to be here with each and every one of you. It's been wonderful as I sat with this message and prepared this message for this week, and I pray that it meets you right where you are. If you're just joining us, we are in a series based on the book, The Sun Does Shine, written by Anthony Ray Hinton. It's the story of a man who was wrongfully convicted, incarcerated, and sentenced to death row, and he spent 30 years on death row until he was finally freed because, again, he was innocent. And so we've taken a journey, and I'm not going to go through, because it's been 4 weeks. I'm not going to go through an overview of every sermon, but we started in week 1 with calling all possibilians. In week 2, Pastor Yolanda brought us the sermon Bigger. In week 3, way down in the hole. Last week, PY brought us the sermon Rule Your Kingdom, looking at this underlying idea that there's a kingdom that I must rule, that I alone must rule. And it's important that we come into the awareness that there are ways to rule our mental kingdom, and it's out of our mental kingdom of ruling that all things outpicture in our lives. I highly encourage you to go back to that message from last week because it was profound, and I know that it met so many people right where you are. It is the first Sunday in September, and it's also, tomorrow is Labor Day. It's Labor Day weekend. And Labor Day always signals the end of summer for so many of us, especially us in the United States that celebrate this holiday. Across the country, particularly in the South, schools have already started. I remember when I lived in Jacksonville, Florida, Elementary school started in August, right? We also got out earlier. School ended earlier, and I think about, I don't know, May, I guess it was. College campuses have already begun classes, but for many of us around the country, Labor Day is that signal of school is about to begin, and it's also that signal that the summer is over. And as we reach the end of summer, as we reach this weekend, this time that kind of brings a close to vacations and beach weeks and beach weekends, there's still so much uncertainty ahead. There's so much uncertainty ahead here in the United States and around the world because as some schools have already opened in person, many of them quickly have had to retreat and move back to online or remote learning. As many college campuses have opened and started with 100% in-person classes, many of them have now sent students packing, sent them back home. There's lots of questions and uncertainty as it relates to moving into the fall and winter because we know the flu season happens every year and we know that a certain amount of people transition during the flu season. And what does that mean as we are still in the midst of the COVID-19 pandemic? There's a report that I read yesterday that's saying that Spain is now experiencing their second wave. Spain, which experienced the pandemic earlier in the spring, just as bad as Italy, just as bad as we did here in New York, many cities are starting to lock down and they are looking at what may be a repeat of what happened in the spring. There's something that I've been doing over the course of these 6 months. I've been keeping a sort of a diary and a journal to just kind of document my thoughts because I recognize that we are in an unprecedented time and there's so many facts and moments that I'll forget or will get hazy 10 years from now, 20 years from now when I'm telling my grandchildren about this moment. And I looked back and in April I wrote these words. On March 31st, we were told the number of deaths could be as high as 100,000 to 240,000. The worst case scenario was 1.5 to 2.2 million if absolutely nothing was done. But later on April 9th, Dr. Fauci advised that with the measures that have been put in place by the states at that time, the death toll will, quote, look more like 60,000, end quote. As of this morning, the current death toll in the United States is over 180,000 souls and climbing. Just this past week, from last Sunday, August 30th, to yesterday, September 5th, 5,883 souls transitioned due to COVID-19. And as we are in this place of uncertainty, as we are in this place of grief, as I know many are worried, and shout out to many of our NYC school teachers, we're holding the high watch for you, we're praying for you and with you, and so happy to see that changes are being made and your voice is being heard and listened to as we're looking at how to best serve and support the beautiful children of New York City. We also recognize that this pandemic affects everything else. Food insecurity is a real challenge now. There are families, whole families, that don't know where their meal is coming from today, or that will have to sit in long lines to get food. As we speak right now, there are families being evicted. There are hundreds of thousands of people that remain unemployed. There are businesses that have closed permanently, and there are many that are just hanging on by a thread. And of course, in the midst of all of this, we have an election happening. And that election is being informed in many ways or ignored in many ways because of this pandemic. And while we are in the midst of this viral pandemic, still there's the pandemic of racism and injustice in this country. This past week, we unfortunately added another name to the list of names, a dear brother by the name of Daniel Prude. We did not know that back in March, even before George Floyd was murdered, this dear brother was murdered by cops in Rochester. And in the midst of all of this, I want to encourage you today. In the midst of all of this, I want to bring you some hope. I'm reminded of the words of Martin Luther King, one of the last words that he spoke publicly. We have some difficult days ahead. I'm not here to give you false hope, because I recognize that this thing that's going on, it's not over. I recognize that the pandemics aren't over, and yet I still believe that we will make it through this experience. And so as we look at the reading that this message is inspired by, I go back to chapter 17. I love the title of chapter 17, God's Best Lawyer. And this is something that Anthony Ray Hinton says all the time when he refers to Brian Stevenson. And so what we find now in this section of the reading is that Brian Stevenson has become Anthony Ray Hinton's lawyer. And Brian Stevenson is a powerful human, a powerful individual. And Anthony Ray Hinton says that when they first met, when they shook hands, he described it this way. He grasped my hand in his, and we shook hands. And in that moment, I felt strength and a compassion and a hope so big it seemed to shoot out of his hand and into mine. It was almost like an electric shock, and I gave him my best strong handshake back. See, I believe that Brian Stevenson was being Jesus to someone. And out of that profound moment, these two beautiful, powerful, amazing souls, Anthony Ray Hinton and Brian Stevenson, came together, and it was like electricity. And they formed a real bond. They formed a brotherhood. Both of them write about talking, just talking and laughing and connecting around their lives and their families and their childhood. And Brian Stevenson writes in the foreword, he says, "No one I have represented has inspired me more than Anthony Ray Hinton." And so as we move through the reading, there's something that Anthony Ray Hinton shares that I think is so profound and what we're going to look at today. He shares 2 letters that Brian Stevenson wrote him. And at the end of each letter, Brian Stevenson ended it this way. The first letter, "I will be down to see you in the next couple of weeks. Hang in there." And then the second letter, "Let me know if you need anything, and hang in there. I'll be in touch with you soon." Hang in there. In the midst of uncertainty, fear, and doubt and worry, much like what we are experiencing today, this is where Anthony Ray Hinton was, Brian Stevenson closed his letter with 3 simple words of encouragement. Hang in there. Hang in there could have just been a passing platitude. It didn't really have to mean anything, because many of us have said hang in there or something close to it, and we didn't really mean it. It just seemed like the right thing to say in that moment. Hang in there could have just been something nice to say, but Anthony Ray Hinton understood Brian Stevenson's heart. And he writes this: "He always told me to hang in there." And those words weren't throwaway words. They weren't just a way to end a letter or a phone call. We both knew a lot of guys on the row, 11 to be exact since I was there, who had chosen not to hang in there. Giving up was always a temptation. Taking your own life sometimes seemed like a better choice than letting the state take it for you. I wasn't going to take my own life, but I always appreciated Brian's telling me to hang in there. It got me through another day, another long night. I took comfort in his letters and his visits. He was working for me, and I prayed for him each and every night. Those 3 words, hang in there. He said, I always appreciated Brian's telling me to hang in there, because those 3 simple words got him through another day, got him through another long night. And so as we are at this pivotal moment at the end of summer, we've gone through, we're now 6 months into this pandemic. We've gone through the spring, we've gone through the summer, and we're looking at the fall, and there's lots of uncertainty. My words of encouragement to you are simple. Hang in there. And I encourage you right here and right now, if you want to be an encourager, let's just fill up the comments in the chat right now. Let's speak that word. Let's speak that word of encouragement to each other. Hang in there, sister. Hang in there, brother. And when I hear these words, hang in there, it reminds me of a hang in there song. It was a song that was written to encourage a friend. It was written by someone who saw his dear brother suffering, and he wanted to offer some hope, some solace, some encouragement to keep on keeping on. And this Hang In There song was released in 1973 on an album entitled Extension of a Man by Donny Hathaway. The title of this Hang In There song is Someday We'll All Be Free. Now you see, Donny Hathaway was the best of us. He refers to the pantheon of great black musical artists as the black pool of genius. And I believe that he was swimming in the black pool of genius. And as Donny Hathaway was the best of us, unfortunately, he transitioned and left us very early. He died at the age of 33. And while much of this information is now more readily available, it wasn't something that was known widely at the time when he was alive, but he was diagnosed with paranoid schizophrenia. And he suffered from depression. And he spent much time here in New York City in Bellevue Hospital. And according to some reports by those that are close to him, he was unfortunately subjected to inhumane electroshock therapy. He dealt with great challenges. He dealt with great suffering. If you go back and listen to his duets with Roberta Flack and you listen to The Closer I Get to You, he sounds like a much older man than 33 because he had literally just been released from the hospital and went to the studio. And that's what you're hearing in his voice. And so this Hang In There song, Donny Hathaway wrote the music, but it was his brother, it was his friend, Eddie Edward Holland, that wrote the lyrics. And Eddie Holland didn't just write the words for Donny to sing, he wrote the words to encourage Donny to hang in there. This is what Eddie Holland said. What was going through my mind at the time was Donny, because Donny was a very troubled person. I hoped that at some point he would be released from all that he was going through. There was nothing I could do but write something that might be encouraging for him. And he goes on, he tells the story about how the opening lines of that song came to him. He says he was in the shower and he slipped and he almost fell and he had to reach out to hang on so that he wouldn't fall. And immediately he heard the words, "Hang on to the world as it spins around." Just don't let the spin get you down. Things are moving fast. Hold on tight and you will last. And when I hear those opening words, my word to you, my encouragement to you is to hang on in there. And what does that look like in this moment? What does that look like in this time? Your daily spiritual practice is how you hold on tight. Your daily spiritual practice is how you will last. Your daily meditation, your daily spiritual deposits of what is absolutely true, what is transcendent, what cannot be destroyed, what is eternal. You must continually hang on to the world as it spins around because it's spinning and things are moving fast. But if you hold on tight with your spiritual practice, I guarantee you will last. He goes on as he's writing these words for his brother: keep your self-respect, your manly pride, your womanly pride, your humanly pride. Get yourself in gear, keep your stride, never mind your fears. Brighter days will soon be here. Keep your self-respect, know your worth. Know that you're worthy, know that you're valuable. That's the pride that we want to operate in. Get yourself in gear. Keep your stride. No matter what's going on, keep walking. Keep that stride. Keep that pace. Whatever it is, no matter how slow it is or no matter how fast it is. Because if you remain persistent, if you just keep moving forward, brighter days will soon be here. Never mind your fears. Take it from me. Someday we'll all be free. But then he encourages Donny even further. He says, brother, keep on walking tall. Hold your head up high. You have nothing to be ashamed of. You have nothing to feel guilty about. You have nothing to beat yourself up about. You are worthy. You have self-respect. Walk tall and hold your head up high. Lay your dreams right up to the sky. Can we in this moment be vigilant and courageous enough to lay our dreams of the world that works for everyone, what it looks like? Can we be courageous enough to affirm and say that there's a world that we want to see, there's a world that we want to experience, there's a justice that we want to see, there's a justice that we want to experience, and we're going to lay those dreams right up to the sky. We're going to make them known. I know what it looks like. I know what we are experiencing. I know there's some darkness. I know there's some unknowns ahead. I know there's uncertainty. But I'm courageous enough to write it down. I'm courageous enough to set that intention. I'm courageous enough to live in that place and know that someday we will all be free. And then he says to Brother Donnie, he says, sing your greatest song. And you'll keep going on. There's a message that I gave some years ago, don't lose your song. And that was actually based on a song that I wrote. And in the bridge, I say a song is a symbol of hope given by God. And we must all remember never to lose hope. And so that idea of singing your greatest song, we talked about hope a few weeks ago. That's breathing. That's singing the song of possibility. That's singing the song of justice now. That's singing the song of infinite possibility. That's singing the song of peace. That's singing the song of equity. That's singing the song of inclusion. That's singing the song of wholeness. And as you sing that song of hope turns into faith. And that song of faith is the song of love. And that's the thing that sustains you. That's the thing that keeps you going on. Take it from me, someday we'll all be free. Just wait and see. Someday we'll all be free. And Donny Hathaway's wife says that after he finished that song, and he listened back to the final mix, he just wept. He just couldn't stop crying. And you can understand why. Because he was singing for his own sense of freedom. Those words that Eddie Holland wrote for him were the words, a brother encouraging a brother that now took those words to encourage himself. Hang in there. In this moment, I can imagine that Anthony Ray Hinton probably read and reread Bryan Stevenson's letters over and over and over again, as he tells us that hang in there meant something. He knew that hang in there wasn't just some throwaway words. He knew that hang in there just wasn't a kind platitude. He knew that hang in there just wasn't some formal gesture of being nice and kind to the poor incarcerated man. But they were words of life that I believe are embodied in this hang in there song. And so my word to you, my dear sisters and brothers, is hang in there. Hang in there, my sister. Hang in there, my brother. Because yes, there's some uncertainty. And there's some things that are looming ahead of us that may not feel good. There's some things that are ahead of us. We don't know how much longer this pandemic will continue. We don't know how many more months we won't be able to gather together as a spiritual family. We don't know how many more months will we have to wear masks and hand sanitize and do all these things that have become our new normal. My sister, I see you. My brother, I see you. I see that your heart is hurting. I see that you're scared. And I see all of the unknowns that are in front of you. But my encouragement to you is hang in there. Hang in there using the spiritual practices that you've developed over all of these years and even over all of these months. Hang in there. As Eddie Holland reminded us, hang on to the world as it spins around. Don't let the spin get you down. There's a lot of foolishness going on. Don't let 45 get you down. Don't let all the talk about voter suppression get you down. Yes, things are moving fast, but if you hold on tight, you will last. As my sister, my brother, I believe and I know that we will get there. And what is there? What is even that someday we'll all be free? I believe that the world that works for everyone, we will get there and experience it. I believe that the beloved community, a nation at peace with itself, a nation and its citizens at peace with itself. I believe that we will get there. Yes, we are experiencing the labor pains and the birthing pains of a new paradigm and a new reality. We will get there. And so I want to leave you with something, a portion of scripture that came to mind that embodies the consciousness that we must hold in this moment. It's a familiar passage of scripture, Psalm 27. Psalm 27 begins, "The Lord is my light and my salvation. Whom shall I fear? The Lord is the strength or the stronghold of my life. Of whom shall I be afraid?" Now, we heard in the song, "Never mind your fear." This is it digging in deeper to what that's about. Because we understand that the all that is, the law itself, God, good itself, is our light and that thing which revives us. What reason do we have to fear? What thing do we have to fear? The self-existing one, the Lord, the law, that which is the ground of all being. It is the strength or the stronghold of our life. It protects us. It's a fortress. Of whom shall I be afraid? You're not in a house made of straw. There's a fortress, a stronghold all around you. Of whom shall I be afraid? That's where that passage of scripture begins. And it goes on, "For in the time of trouble he shall hide me," and all of those wonderful things are there. But then it ends in verse 13 and 14. "I believe that I shall see the goodness of the Lord in the land of the living." Wait for the Lord and be of good courage. Wait, I say, upon the Lord. That verse, "I believe I shall see the goodness of the Lord in the land of the living," is what has been sitting with me all week. Because what I know to be true, not just believe to be true, we can't hang in there if we don't have this underlying knowing. And so as I encourage you to hang in there, and as you encourage your sisters and brothers to hang in there, and as you encourage yourself to hang in there, we must remind ourselves and affirm this truth. I believe I will see the goodness of the Lord in the land of the living. I believe that I will see the end of this chaos and fear and division that is being experienced all around the country and around the world right now. I believe that I will see the end of this pandemic, just as many of our dear brothers and sisters in 1918 saw the end of that pandemic. I believe that I will see the end of police murder and violence. I believe that I will see this in the land of the living. That I'm holding fast to this idea. And so it's not just a someday in the sense of out there in the sweet by and by, but I believe that I will see it with my own eyes. I will experience it with my own life. And so it is out of that belief and out of that knowing, what must we do? Wait for the Lord. We must remain patient. Hang on. Hold on tight. We must remain vigilant. Hang on. Hold on tight. We must remain certain. Hang on. Hold on tight. See, waiting is not passive. And this is why I love the lyrics of the song. He says, keep your self-respect. It's not passive. This is what the waiting looks like. He says, keep your stride. Waiting is not passive. He says, keep on walking tall. Waiting is not passive. Hold your head up high. Waiting is not passive. Sing your greatest song, waiting is not passive, and fearlessly lay your dreams up to the sky, waiting is not passive. So as you hear these words, hang on in there. This is not a passive platitude. This is not a passive way of living, but it is a powerful spiritual way of standing in a complete knowingness and allowing that to guide us into inspired action as we walk tall, as we keep our stride. And so it is from this place of awareness that I invite each and every person to take a deep breath in and release. And we breathe in and we breathe out. There is only one mind. There is only one power. There is only one presence. There is only one creative cause. There is only one divine intelligence. There is only one ground of all being. And it permeates all life, for all life springs up from it and is rooted in it. I choose to call this power, this presence, this peace, this ease, this intelligence, Mother, Father, God. It is the beginning and the end. All things are within it, of it, and from it. And I recognize that it is ever present, right here, right now, closer than my hand and closer than my breath, just as dependable as this air that I breathe in. And as I recognize that it is here now, I am remembering and unifying my heart, my mind, and my soul with the absolute ever reality that I am one with it and one of it, that you, my sister, you, my brother, are one with it and one of it. For we are individualized expressions of the one. The sun is an individualized expression of this power. Every blade of grass is an individualized expression of this power. Every grain of sand is an individualized expression of this power. Every head or hair on your head is an individualized expression of this power. And it is out of this knowingness, out of this recognition, out of this unifying knowingness that I speak this word in faith. As we are people of faith, as we are people of love, as we are people of hope, we stand in this knowingness. We take the beautifully encouraging words that were passed from Brian Stevenson to Anthony Ray Hinton, now to us. Hang on in there. And we choose to hang in there consciously. We choose to hang in there by first loving ourselves. We choose to hang on in there by first being patient with ourselves. We choose to hang on in there by allowing ourselves to be healed. We choose to hang on in there by allowing ourselves to rest. We choose to hang on in there by allowing ourselves to cry. We choose to hang on in there by walking tall. We choose to hang on in there by singing our greatest song. We choose to hang on in there by moving forward consciously. We choose to hang on in there by affirming the truth that I will see the goodness of the Lord in the land of the living. We choose to hang on in there by affirming that I will live in and experience a world that works for everyone. We choose to hang on in there by declaring and decreeing that justice will be served, will be met, and will be experienced in this land. We choose to hang on in there by knowing that everything that is unlike love will be corrected. We choose to hang on in there by remembering that there is a power, by remembering that there is a power, by remembering that there is a power that is greater than the darkness, that is greater than anything that we are seeing or experiencing in this planet right here and right now. We choose to hang on in there, knowing that we will be free, knowing that every human will be free, knowing that every man will be free, knowing that every woman will be free, knowing that every person will be free, knowing that every child will be free, knowing that we will see and experience this great expression of love on the earth. So we open up our hearts and we open up our minds to be that expression of love. For we recognize as there is peace in our heart and as there is peace in our minds, there will be peace on the earth. Let there be peace on earth and let it begin with me. Let there be bliss on the earth and let it begin with me. Let there be healing on the earth and let it begin with me. Let there be justice on the earth and let it begin with me. Let there be equality on the earth and let it begin with me. And so it is with much joy, With much thanksgiving, I release this prayer. I let it go and I surrender it, for I recognize that every word that is spoken is a seed placed into good ground. And so I now allow the waters of life. I now allow the sunshine of life. I now allow nature's eternal wisdom to bring forth this seed and bring it forth as a wonderfully beautiful, powerful, life-giving tree. And we will eat of that tree, just as the tree of life is for the healing of the nations. We shall be healed. We shall be made whole. And it is from this place of awareness that I simply say, amen, ashe, and so it is. So it is. So it is. Yes, yes. Yes, 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 yes. I pray that this message meets you right where you are. If there's someone you need to share it with, or maybe you just need to just text a friend, a family member, and just say, hang on in there. Hang in there, sister. Hang in there, brother. Mm-hmm. We will see the goodness of God in the land of the living. We will see the end of this pandemic. We will see an end to the lies and criminality when we see experienced in our world and in our nation right now.
And we're not hanging on tight because we're afraid. We're hanging on tight because this evolution, this revolution, this change is going to happen.
Yes.
And we want to witness it because we know it's going to happen. So we're holding on to this expansion, this evolution, not from fear, but from knowingness.
Absolutely.
From joy, from anticipation of it coming, just like you would on Christmas morning. We hanging on in there.
Absolutely.
We know it's coming.
Absolutely.
Freedom is ours. We were born free.
Yes. Yes. And so in this moment, it is time as we prepare for giving. Giving is easy at CSC. Giving is simple at CSC because we teach the principle. We teach that giving must be given in love because we love to give. We teach that giving must be given from a place of joy because we know that there's more than enough.
Yes.
You know the feeling. If somebody asked you to borrow $20 and you have $1,000, you'd be like, yeah, sure. If somebody asked to borrow $20 and it was your last 20, you'd be thinking about it, and you'd be like, well, let me think about them and their character and whether I want to give them this money. You know the difference in those feelings. That feeling of more than enough is the feeling that we must give from. Mm-hmm. And the way we know that is that every source of income is really a resource because there's only one source. And so we give from this place of abundance, knowing that it will be replenished over and over again and multiplied. We give in love because we love to give. We give in joy because there is more than enough. And so if you would like to give to CSC, the links are here in the posts, whether you're on YouTube or Facebook. You also see it here on the screen. Just go to celebration.sc.org /give, or just scroll down to the giving section. Give what feels good. If you'd like to text to give, the number is 347-744-9500. The minimum to text to give is $10. I always say it's my favorite way to give because it is.
Mine too.
It's so quick. It's so quick and easy, right? So whichever way you choose to give, and whether you're giving today or sometime later in the week, on behalf of CSC, we appreciate your giving.
For your
it
gifts.
Supports us, of course, in continuing to do what we're doing, and the technology that's required to continue to up our game and professionalism with our live stream, and we will continue to do that. And so when we give from this place, knowing that we're giving from joy and giving from love and giving what feels good, we affirm this truth. All the money that I use returns to me multiplied. In a never-ending cycle. Of increase. And enjoyment. And so with that, again, I invite you all to give what feels good. We take a joyous offering. And so just to wrap up, We're going to be finishing the final chapters this week of The Sun Does Shine, 21 through 24. So make sure you read those. If you'd like to be a part of the book series group and want to check in on our discussion from last week, just go to celebrationsc.churchcenter.com, and you can join that book series group. We look forward to seeing you all next week, because this book and this series is so impactful and so powerful. I'm moved, I'm changed by this series, and I'm moved and I'm changed by today, because I know that this word of encouragement is so needed right now. So needed right now. So know that we love y'all. We see y'all shouting us out with the blue glasses and stuff.
Yeah.
We love y'all, and y'all notice everything. It's so
I know, it's amazing. Love you all.
All right, have an amazing Sunday. Be well.
Bye for now.